Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Test Those Breasts podcast. I am your host, Jamie Vaughn. I'm a retired teacher of 20 years and a breast cancer thriver turned staunch, unapologetic, loud supporter and advocate for others, bringing education and awareness through a myriad of medical experts, therapists, caregivers, and other survivors. A breast cancer diagnosis is incredibly overwhelming with the mounds of information out there, especially on Dr. Google. I get it. I'm not a doctor, and I know how important it is to uncover accurate information, which is my ongoing mission through my nonprofit. The podcast includes personal stories and opinions from breast cancer survivors and professional physicians, providing the most up-to-date information at the time of recording. Evidence, research, and practices are always changing, so please check the date of the recording and always refer to your medical professionals for the most up-to-date information. I hope you find this podcast a source of inspiration and support from my guests. Their contact information is in the show notes, so please feel free to reach out to them. We have an enormous breast cancer community ready to support you in so many ways. Now let's listen to the next episode of Test Those Breasts. Well, hello, friends. Welcome back to this episode of Test Those Breasts. I am your host, Jamie Vaughn. Happy 2025. The new year is upon us. And today I am super excited to have my guest from Germany, Sonja Zipser. I was trying to pronounce that before we started recording, and sometimes I have a little bit of a hard time with it, but I like to try. So Sonja was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2015, and in 2017 was followed by a year with many strokes of fate. Metastases were discovered by chance, and she and her husband separated, and at the same time, her mother died. Suddenly, she was alone with 3 small children. However, all of these events have led her to the woman she is today. Today, Sonja is a mentor and a spiritual healer. She helps people to get empowered again to truly see, feel, and understand their personal needs so they can achieve their dreams. Well, hello, Sonja. It's so nice to have you on my show. How are you doing today or tonight?
Thank you so much for your invitation and for having me.
You are so welcome. So we met online in a group that we are in. So that's always such a fun way to connect with people. And you are from Germany, and I'm so excited to be able to travel to Germany next year sometime. And I'll have to hit you up on what some good places to go to are. But I was just really super intrigued with your life because you've had so many things happen all along, with your breast cancer diagnoses. And I'm very much excited that you get to share with my audience today and tonight for you. So it is afternoon for me and it is evening for you, late evening. So thanks for taking the time. Yeah. So can you share with our audience who Sonja was before all of this stuff happened, before breast cancer and all the things?
Yeah, I was a working mom with 3 kids. I was married and I just lived my life. I was very busy, kept myself very busy, had a lot of friends, doing a lot. So I didn't have to confront myself with myself. So yeah, that was me.
Yeah, that's really interesting that you say confronting yourself. I feel like a lot of women don't confront themselves because they're so gosh darn busy and taking care of everyone else, whether it be, a husband, a wife, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, kids, whoever's in their life. They're so busy taking care of them that they don't have a lot of time to really think about what's going on with themselves deeply until something crazy happens, right? So your first real crazy, at least from what I can tell, is your breast cancer diagnosis. Can you share about your 2 diagnoses and your treatments?
Yes, as you said, from my bio, my first diagnosis was in 2015. And we spoke before a few days ago, and afterwards I looked up and I thought, oh, I told you wrongly, because I first found out under shower in January 2015 that there was something in my breast, and I'm not someone who was very often ill, and I hardly go to the doctor. There's no need for, but there I was a bit afraid because my mom had breast cancer when she was at the same age as I was in 2015. So I went to the doctor, and my doctor was on holidays. It was January. And so I was, I consulted another doctor, and she said, no, don't worry. There's nothing. It's something, I can't remember exactly the words, something with the hormones or something like that. So deep inside, I already knew in January that she was wrong. But of course, she was the doctor. She was the woman with the title and with the knowledge and everything. And I, of course, was relieved that someone who should know better than I told me, no, you don't have to worry. So I waited and waited, and it didn't go away. So in April, I decided to wait until May when I had my next appointment anyways. So I waited until end of May when I had the next appointment scheduled with my doctor. And yeah, the first thing I said to her before we greeted everything, I said, oh, I guess I have breast cancer. And then she looked up and she sent me right away to different tests, and she called a specialist in Stuttgart here in Germany, in the next city, a very good doctor. And so I called my husband.
So she's the one. So when you went back to her, she's the one that ultimately diagnosed you with breast cancer.
Yeah.
Okay. Did she seem surprised? Or
I already told her right away that I guess that I have breast cancer, and she just confirmed it, and she was shocked as well. By then she didn't know that her colleague from the same place said, no, it is nothing. But then she didn't know that. They discussed it later. But yes, everybody can make mistake, of course. That's been some things that, but yeah.
So given that mistake, because that's a pretty big mistake, because my guess is, what stage were you when you were diagnosed?
I have no clue.
You don't know?
No, I have no clue, really. I don't know. They never said. I don't know if it was already big. Of course, it was like that.
Did you did you go through chemo?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So it must have been either probably stage 2 or beyond, right? So I just always think it's important for people to, use their intuition and advocate for themselves, right? Because, had that have been diagnosed 2 months prior, it may have been a lot. I mean, it's never easy, for gosh sakes, right? But it could have been, an earlier stage. Maybe would have been able to avoid chemo, maybe just have radiation and surgery. So it's just really interesting that you knew, and you used your intuition told you that you had breast cancer. And so we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But then ultimately, you went back. So you went through the treatments, you were disease free. And then in 2017, what happened?
Yeah, in December 2016, I had pain in my in the groin area. I don't know if that's the word. Yes. And I prayed that it was cancer in the ovaries. Is that, right?
Ovarian
Yes.
cancer.
Yes, I was afraid. So I went to the doctor. My doctor was again not there, but there are 3 doctors. So I went this time to the man, and he said, I have no clue what it could be. I can't feel anything. And so, but I will send you to the test. And I went to a test, and they said, no, there's nothing, but we found something else. So I was very shocked to hear that they found metastasis in the spine, in the liver.
So that must have been a big shocker.
That was a real shock, yes.
Yeah. So in between that, so are you living with metastatic cancer right now?
It's been a while. I've been through chemotherapy again. I had also irradiation at the spine, and the doctors told me that there's only a possibility to do chemotherapy for the liver, breast, and everything, and spine. They can't do anything else. It's just the liver, because we need that to live.
Right.
On that. And I did 10 chemotherapies. Originally, 12 were needed, but I skipped 2 because I didn't feel well. When my mom died, for example, my tests were so, my everything, my whole body was not really well and stable, so I couldn't make it. So I did the 10 chemotherapies, and then it was more than 10. I think it was 20. I don't know. I didn't keep track. But after that, I was stable. I was for 3 or 4 years stable without any treatment, and so they were still there. But yeah. So
Are you in any treatment right now?
No, I'm not in a treatment. I treat myself with medication, with good thoughts, with changing my life, changing from the inside out.
Okay. So subsequently, during this time, you and your husband split up. Can you share that story and how that impacted your life?
Yeah. So when I had the first diagnosis, when we were at the doctor, of course they took tests, and we had to wait during Easter for the results. And when the doctor shared and said, yes, it's for sure that you have a breast cancer, my husband or ex-husband fainted. So, yeah, he fell down on the floor. And in 2015, I was always the strong one. Even I was the woman with breast cancer. I was strong. I didn't want to that my husband felt bad or suffered too much, or I don't know. And when I had the second diagnosis, he was not truly supporting me. And I thought, no, this time I need a change. I have to be the one who's really caring for myself, and I needed someone who cared for me.
Right.
And so I spoke to him and said, hey, I can't take care of you this time, and I don't want to, because now it's me. And then he was strange. And then I found out that he had met another woman, and it took 3 or 4 weeks because I wanted a decision right away. I didn't want like this or that, or trying and so, because we had 3 children, and I wanted to have it clear. decision, and then he decided to leave.
Okay. So how did that shape your story? Like who are you today?
Yeah, for me, as I already said, I was always the strong. That's what I've always been. My husband always said to me, actually, you don't need anybody because I'm the strong one and I can do everything on my own. So in 2015, I had my mom helping me. She lived next door. I had my husband. So I didn't ask for help with my kids and the household and everything because I had two people, two grown-ups who helped me. But suddenly, yeah, my husband, he moved out on a Sunday evening, and on Monday morning, within 24 hours, my mom died unexpectedly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then I was suddenly all alone with the three kids. They were between 6 and 11, around 7 and 12. So I had to ask for help, and health insurance. They sent me a woman who had a clinic and cooking and doing the washing and everything. And she asked me, "Are you also interested in other healing methods? Are you open for that?" And I said, "Yes, of course. I want to live. I will try everything." So that's been the first. It was not new to me, but I had never thought about adding this to my healing journey. So I was already spiritual. I knew about that. My mother-in-law was also a healer, but yeah, it was never included to my cancer healing journey. So
Yeah.
when
I feel like it should be, I mean, I talk to so many people who are into that kind of holistic health and holistic healing. And I really do feel like all of that synergistically put together with, Western meds and, that the Eastern medication and, that integrative oncology is what it is, right? It's incorporating mindset, breathing, exercise, meditation. And I feel like that really helps out for a lot of people.
yeah, and change your mindset is also so important. So that was the first time I went to a woman she referred me to, and it was not some voodoo stuff or so. She just spoke with me, and she said, "Yeah, it's the topic is also self-love." And yeah, that's been for me the hardest thing because I never learned that from my mom. She she was always there for my sister and me and doing everything for us. And um, she cared for her and yeah, not so much. It was always the others. And that's what I did as well, caring for everybody else, working, helping in school with the children and kindergarten and not making one cake. I did 2 or 3 cakes because the other moms didn't do, were not prepared to do anything. So I did 3 things. Yeah. So, I did not really care for me and didn't think that I was important.
Well, I feel like in the more modern world, we are becoming more aware of how much that self love is important and being able to take care of ourselves. Because, I really think it's generational. I don't know that my mom really ever took care of herself. She had a great life, she had fun and all of that. But I don't know how much she actually loved herself. And I don't know how much she actually took care of herself. She was always so busy taking care of everyone else. Same with my grandmother. And it was never really talked about. It was not a topic of conversation. Like people even today have a difficult time talking about things that are painful and things that are affecting their lives. They just don't verbalize it because it's kind of taboo. It's hush hush. And we should just think positively, right? And we shouldn't necessarily talk about anything negative that's happening with us and showing our feelings and things like that. And I really feel like that all goes with that whole self-love and self-care, being able to, verbalize and show your emotions and things like that. That is such a newer phenomena that in our modern day than it was back when, say, your mother's era and your grandmother's era. And same goes for mine. So can you share with us then what you're doing to give back to the breast cancer community and even any other part of the community? It doesn't have to be breast cancer. What do you do? What does your world look like right now?
Yeah, I started with self-healing courses for me to learn all this, and that's what I'm giving back. I've also studied a lot personal development, mindset, and everything. That's what I'm doing on social media, and having people here coming for healing sessions, and I'm talking with the people, changing their mind, helping them to change their mindset. And I want to say something about the self-love, and I don't think that that it really goes deep nowadays. We're all speaking about self-love, and of course, I'm looking at myself and everything, but most of the people are not prepared to really dig deep.
Why do you think that is?
Yeah, maybe it's really painful, and we have so many patterns and beliefs, and we don't want to hurt other people, and we have still the society who's blaming people or pointing with the finger to people. And we have so many expectations on our kids, on our parents, and our friends. And I think that there's needed a big change in the society, in our thinking.
I do
And
agree.
yeah, and I have 3 kids. They are now 15, 18, 20. And with all the yeah, I think they still also I'm on my way, and I can only be a role model for them. They don't want to know about the weird stuff I'm doing, and they say, "Oh, you with your crazy thing." So they're not prepared to change as well. But of course, they have to and they have to see that it works. And yeah, and that's what it's about, showing up and showing that a change can be possible. And that's so important that we start step by step and change little things in our life, and that we allow it to ourselves, because we always think, oh, okay, my parents paid me my studies, so I have to stay in this job because my parents paid it for me. But I would love to do this or that, or would like to do something else. And that's where all so many people are living in their books and are not prepared to get out of that box because they are afraid.
So when people come to you for help, what do your sessions look like? Are they online? Are they in person? Are they both?
Both both possible. It's
Okay.
now online. So much is possible. I'm so happy speaking to you. For example, you're the other side of the world, and
Yes.
the possibilities nowadays. And of course, speaking one-on-one or doing healing sessions, people need to be touched. Yeah, so many people are not really being touched or their needs. Of course, I'm not grabbing at them. I lay my hands on their body like that, or here. It's not like that, but that's something that is really, that goes deep.
Good. Yeah. So do you only do one-on-ones or do you do group sessions?
At the moment, it's one-on-one.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And I have a couple of friends who have programs that they can do one-on-one or group. So I always think that talking in a group sometimes is really helpful as well in really reaching out to that community. People resonate with different types of modalities. I mean, people resonate with, certain personalities and certain, ways that the program is run. So on yours, you have a website we have in the show notes. You are on sonjazipser.de, right?
Mhm.
And so I have your website on the show notes. I've got your Facebook group, and your YouTube channel and your Instagram and Linktree. So I have all of those in there. I would love for my audience to be able to check out your website and your social media to see how it might be able to fit into their lives and be able to share it with others. And so even though you're in Germany, people can reach out to you from anywhere in the world, which is just so cool, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I really appreciate your being on this show. Is there anything that you would like to add to your message before we wrap up?
Yeah, I would like to finish what I started speaking about my ex-husband leaving me and how this had an impact on my life. Yeah, I want to share with you that it was really a gift he gave me because this was the start for me to change my life. I had to change, because that woman came in my life. She was an angel for me, and I wouldn't have met her if she hadn't left. And I had to start looking in my finances. I had to speak up for myself. And of course, I was suffering a lot. My ego, I was furious and I was angry. And I felt so bad for quite a few months, and I didn't wish him well at the beginning, but now we are friends.
Oh,
I was
good.
able, yes, uh, due to the personal development, all the healing and everything, I could see that he had to do it. He had to be, yes, he was at the beginning an asshole. Because he didn't care. He didn't help me. Even my mom, when my mom died, it was like he had never known her. And we were together for 20 years. And he gave me the cold shoulder, we call it. I don't know if you have that saying
Oh,
in
yes, we
just,
do.
and couldn't understand it. We were together for 20 years. And from one second to another, I didn't count anymore. And I was suffering with breast cancer. My mom had died, and I was alone, and he didn't help me with the kids. I couldn't understand that, but he had to be like that so he could separate also. It was a tough time and was it needed a lot of courage to leave a woman with breast cancer. And
Yeah.
so said, you know, everybody's always asking, "Oh, how are you doing? You with the breast cancer," but nobody was asking me how I felt. Nobody asked me. And yes, I think for the men, for the partners, for the family, it's also difficult. And nowadays I would handle everything completely different. But yeah, at that time it was like that. And I was able. About 2 years later, I thanked him, and I could really see how his body released and how he relaxed, and he was so happy. He didn't say it, but I could see from his posture that he was very relieved that I thanked him that he left.
Well, he probably felt really bad, leaving you when in a time of crazy, like you needed him. And I can only imagine how that felt when you got the cold shoulder and he was acting differently than what you had known him to act for 20 years. So I can imagine that was very, very painful. But I'm also really glad that you blossomed as this new person, a better version of yourself, and now have self-love, and you were able to forgive him, and he knows this, and hopefully he's real happy too with his life. And
I hope so. It's not none of my business. He married that woman, and we get along well as well. And yeah, and I asked my healer, why is he together with her? And she said to me, it's a spiritual thing, of course. Their souls have something to figure out together in this life. And that was for me just, okay. It was like, okay, now I understand. It's okay for me. That was for me really the moment where I was at peace with the situation.
Right.
It was just they have something to figure out together as souls in this life.
I think that's really wonderful. I'm so glad that you shared that with us. Is there any piece of advice that you would like to leave my audience, whether they've been diagnosed with breast cancer or not? Is there anything that you would like to leave as far as a piece of advice for them?
Yes, I think you can. You are the creator of your life, and you can help your healing journey by having a positive mindset and working on yourself and be honest with yourself. We just spoke about self-love and the emotions and everything. Yeah, be true with yourself and ask for help. Surround yourself with uplifting people, and you don't need people who suffer with you. You need people, and you need podcasts like that. You need to hear success stories. And yeah, sometimes doctors tell you you only have to live 6 months. And guess what? Some people finally make their world travel or do something they always wanted to do, and miracle happens, and they are cancer free. Yeah. Why? Have you ever questioned why? Because finally they did what they always wanted to do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't always work out that way, but it is really fun to hear those stories that people like release and they go and do the things and they are happy and their mindset is completely different and they sort of let go of all the other things that just didn't matter anymore. And then they're still alive. So that's really a fun story. Those are fun stories to hear. So yeah, that's great piece of advice. Well, I just really appreciate your being here and being, open to share your story about your two diagnoses. And, I'm sure that's very painful about your mother dying. I absolutely know what that feels like. My mom died 5 years ago and I have never been the same. But I do celebrate her on a daily basis just because we were so close. And so, lots of love to you in that regard. And I just appreciate your taking the time and staying up so late in Germany to interview with me. And I just want to let my audience again know that in the show notes, they can find you on social media, on your website. And if anyone out there is looking for just some sort of a program, if you want to meet Sonja and see if she resonates with you, and maybe you can work with her, then I would definitely go to the show notes and go to her website and send her a message and get started. So, especially for this new year. And I just really wish everyone a very happy new year, 2025. This is season number 4 for me, Sonja. So thank you. And to my audience, if you can also go to your favorite platform and rate and review this podcast, that would be very, very helpful. And until next time, we will see you on the next episode of Test Those Breasts. Thank you, Sonja.
Thank you, Jen, for having me. And yeah, all the best for you ladies. You're up.
Friends, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Test Those Breasts. I hope you got some great, much needed information that will help you with your journey. As always, I am open to guests to add value to my show, and I'm also open to being a guest on other podcasts where I can add value. So please reach out if you'd like to collaborate. My contact information is in the show notes. And as a reminder, rating, reviewing, and sharing this podcast will truly help build a bigger audience all over the world. I thank you for your efforts. I look forward to sharing my next episode of Test Those Breasts.